I apologize for that song. Sorry, Tex. I didn't tell you what were going on.
Right.
This is the Matt and Tex Show, live on KSSU.com. My name is Matt.
I'm Tex.
And sorry for being late. I have just given my gallonth of blood, I guess.
Long enough to think of
I didn't know how I wanted to say it, because
gallon.
I haven't given a gallon just now. It's been accumulated after 8 donations.
We wouldn't be on the air if you had.
I would not be living. Currently waiting for my computer to boot up.
So Matt might pass out at some point during the show.
Matt might
in which
pass
case I'll go to commercial break.
Do you know how to do that?
Probably.
Today on the show. Sorry, today on the show. Very exciting for us. Probably one of our best shows ever.
Yeah, we're already predicting.
Mainly because we have a sort of plan and what's going on. Today we'll talk about our top 6 favorite video games of all time.
Which is basically of our lifetime.
In descending order from 6 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll discuss, if we have time, and I hope we do, our least favorite game of all time.
I put most hated.
We're gonna try and get this through quickly. I'll try and play some songs, but these songs are gonna be all video game songs. So intros, during the music, scores, and all that stuff. My iTunes is finally opened. I'm hoping it works.
Internet drop?
Internet drop. I didn't get to do.
We're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna test it out now. See if it works. Sometimes iTunes likes to crash on me.
Yeah, iTunes take now.
I am the internet, and I like it when KSSU is on.
Did it play?
There we go.
I didn't hear because it has the headphones. Yeah,
And that's the next song. But we'll yeah.
But yeah, iTunes for some reason when I try to play a song, it takes like 7 seconds to start. When I first started iTunes, I don't know.
Anyways, that was an internet drop. A little bit
on that.
I didn't want to play that song, but I do. Anyways,
What's a good introduction?
I got to pull my list out.
Yeah, I was wondering,
Tex,
where's your list?
Let's start us off. Number 6 on Tex's list.
Well, I have some honorable mentions
Well, I want to throw those in randomly.
Oh, okay. If you want to throw those in
I want to see number 6 right now. I want to hear number 6.
Number 6 is, I don't know, you might think it's higher on my list, is Call of Duty 4.
I actually, okay. I wouldn't have put it high. Actually, I would have put it lower on your list.
Came out in 2007, and I got it for Xbox. That was the first Xbox game I got.
Xbox, Call of Duty 4, Xbox 360.
Yes.
We need to be specific about Xbox.
You're right.
Xbox 360.
I didn't write that down. I'm an idiot.
Okay.
Yeah, Call of Duty 4 was my first Xbox 360 game, and when I went to go buy my 360, it was between that or Grand Theft Auto 4, which would have been a terrible choice, actually. Cause
I've never played that one, but you like the previous one.
No, yeah, the first ones were better. And I had to put this on my list, and not exactly for the game itself, but for the reasons why we played. I got Xbox. I was one of the, I think I was the second to last. No, maybe third to last. Because Matt, you're the most recent person who got an Xbox
out of our group, yes,
group of friends. And this really started my whole gaming online with other people. Because up to that time, I've only played either games at friends' houses. Executive producer Trevor, I played Call of Duty at his house.
Yeah, for many years or for months.
And finally, I got it. And first of all, the game itself, without the friends, is a wonderful
online,
game.
So the campaign.
Mm-hmm, the campaign.
Yeah, so you just play the story that
game.
the disc has on itself. Yeah, it's called
campaign. But also, when you look at these games, multiplayer is more of a bigger factor. No, Matt's starting to faint.
No, I'm fine. And multiplayer is the biggest factor of that game. Yes,
of these games
in that franchise. Yeah,
and the game is one of the most balanced games out of all the modern Call of Duties. You know,
define balanced.
It's balanced in terms of the weapons that people use are.
So strengths and weaknesses in weapons, which is a big deal for him in current online games, where maybe one gun is basically used primarily because it has the best stopping power.
Exactly.
Or like it only takes 3 bullets in the torso to hit or head to kill instead of 5 from another, something like that.
Exactly. And in Call of Duty 4, the M16 and MP5 were pretty much the best weapons, but people used other ones. When you get to the next game, World at War, all anybody ever used was the MP40. I mean, if you went up against the MP40, you didn't really have much of a chance. And still, when I go on there, sometimes
I never got to the World at War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but MP40 was it, and still is. A lot of people use it, but it was very balanced. And sniping in that game was was the best it's ever been in any other Call of Duty, because quick scoping, it took skill, and after you worked at it, you could become good at it, and it was fun and challenging. In other ones, sometimes they made it too difficult. In other ones, they made it too easy. But it was an excellent game. Glitching. Oh, I remember glitching with executive producer
We're
Trevor.
going through a lot of this, Tex, and I have my list of 6, and
You're right.
It's
It's a great game.
only number 6 too when he's talking.
It
about
is only number 6.
All right, so we'll go to my number 6, which is my only current generation console game. So the current generation's PS3, Xbox 360, even Wii if you want.
Wii
Probably
is
not.
the 6th generation.
So everything else is an older console.
Mhm.
This is Rock Band. And
Wait.
I know it's Rock Band.
What did it came out for, the PlayStation 2 originally?
I don't know. But what I played it off was Xbox 360.
Oh, wait. I always get Rock Band and Guitar Hero
yeah.
confused.
So Guitar Hero was really good, but what I loved about Rock Band was the drums.
The drums.
I played with Trevor tons and tons of hours. Really enjoyed it. Really changed what video games meant to me at the time, because all we knew was sort of a first-person shooter or anything like that. So it changed what video games could be for me, and really big market. I loved it. I bought Rock Band 1, I think, and Rock Band like Beatles or something. They haven't really been making much of a Rock Band thing anymore.
No, they, for those games, because they were always competing with Guitar Hero.
Right.
Guitar Hero, first of all, like jumped ahead so much, and then they dropped. I think
Yeah.
they just died.
Yeah.
And Rock Band, I don't think they're making it. The newest one I heard was Rocksmith, which uses a real guitar.
Yeah, I've
And-
seen that.
But
But
I
no-
think that's died. I think the whole
Yeah, the whole idea. But for me, it's I could still go back and play that and still enjoy it. It's number 6. It's not that high up, and maybe that might, if I think about it more, I might find other games that I could throw in instead. But at this point, it's my number 6.
yes, making this list was hard.
Very difficult.
I didn't think it would be that hard. I knew the games that I wanted to put there, and I had to think of some other ones. But ranking them was the hardest part. My number 1, I knew right away, still is, never changed.
Yeah, I can't. I hope we get to this. We only have like 30
We have
minutes.
plenty of time. I guess I'll move on to my number 5.
Number 5, Texas. Number 5, most loved video game,
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Came out in 1999 for the PC, and I love this game. It was fun, and I always love...
I didn't think you put that on. That's weird. Okay.
I love management type games, God view type games where you're looking up, you're not necessarily
Yep.
in the action.
Yep.
And I remember you could build custom roller coasters or put ones that were already there. And whenever I go back and I play that game or play the sequels, I realize the first one was always the best because the sounds, hearing the people happily scream and come out, or the ching money sound come in, I just love that. And one of the games that I had, one of the files that I had in it, I made $300,000, which is a lot of profit. And my dad's like, "Hey, Marty, my sister,
Yeah.
my sister wants to play," and it's like, "Okay, fine." I go out after she played. She erased my file. I was so upset. I was very mad.
Did you play again after that?
No, I could keep playing, but
Okay.
I didn't have my 300,000 profit game.
So here's the difference between Tex and I. Tex, and I imagine this would happen, Tex would put some PC games on there. Myself, I'm not a very big PC gamer. Tex is the
Yeah.
PC gamer.
The majority
most
of mine are
So
PC games.
Yeah, so, and some of the games I played or on my list might be on PC, but I didn't find them on PC. I never really played on my PC.
It's the console that you played it on, not
Right.
necessarily what it.
So we'll go to my number 5.
Number 5.
My number 5, Tony Hawk Pro Skater for PlayStation 1. I played it on PlayStation 2, but it's a PlayStation 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
What changed everything for video games for me is that I was emotionally attached, not to the characters, but for beating challenges or losing challenges, I would get so angry
Video games
and
just
throw
suck you
things and be upset. And that was the first video game where I actually was upset. But I had to beat the game, and that's why I put it my number 5, because a lot of hours spent on it, a lot of anger, but also just happiness.
Yeah, I've only ever gotten extremely mad at a game once. It was Need for Speed Most Wanted. and racing. It was racing.
Ah,
game.
those time trials and stuff. Yeah.
I got to one boss. I don't remember which one was it, and I had raced him 7 times, and I was like, oh my gosh, this sucks. Raced him 8th time in a row. We were neck and neck. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna beat it. He speeds up just a little. He wins. I stand up out of my chair, raised my PlayStation controller as high as I could, and threw it on the ground.
Oh man,
I was so upset.
That happens. That happens.
But immediately after that, I laughed and said, "Oh my gosh, I got
Yeah.
so upset over a video game."
Yep.
And I was like, "Wow, I'm a gamer, and I love it. I absolutely
All right,
love
Tex. Let's go number. Actually, yeah, let's put it on honorable. No, let's do 4. I'd rather get through our list and miss the honorable mentions than add some honorable mentions and miss our number 1 or 2.
All right.
So we'll go to Texas number 4. Favorite video game.
Texas number 4. Game called Mech Warriors 2.
Mech Warriors 2
Came out in 1995 for the PC.
Oh, I didn't have that song on here.
And
Another PC game. 95.
95.
But
yes.
you didn't play it in that year.
I was born in 92, so I was
Probably you're
no.
not 3. Yeah.
I estimate I'm around 5.
So how'd
maybe.
you get it? Did your dad buy it for you?
I'm
or
assuming
did he kind of have it
I'm
already?
assuming he had it himself. It was probably his game. I don't know how he got it, but I'm assuming it was his game. And I loved this game because it's when you're a kid and you play video games. At least I never did. I never read the instructions. I mean, you go in mission brief. This is what you have to do. Nope, just start the game. And it's a game about giant robots shooting lasers, missiles, and killing things. And that's basically all that mattered to me. I remember walking around. There were different types of robots that you could pick from. My favorite was Timberwolf, still is, except the newer version is now called Mad Cat, which
Don't know what that
disappoints
is.
me. And when I go back and listen to it and play this game, the music, the laser sounds, the computer sounds, it's so much nostalgia. And that's all it was for me, really, is just I went in there and blew everything up. You know, if it shot at me, I shot back and I destroyed it. It was more of just me fumbling around with how to play the game rather than actually focusing on the game itself. But still, now that I go back and now that I play, I focus on the missions, I play the missions, but still there's always that, oh my gosh, this is Mech Warriors, I love it. Mech Warriors 2 has so many expansion packs. A new game, finally, after so many years, they're coming out with a new one. And it's going to be free online, and I'm very excited. I can't wait for it to come out, and I want to play that one as well. That's my number 4, Mech Warriors 2.
We are on my number 4. My number 4, we'll start out with the song. Sonic the Hedgehog. That's actually the second one. Played that game. Sega Genesis was the console that we had at the time. Was my brother's console. Very old. I think it came out in '93. Not the game itself, but the console. I don't know. The game is pretty close behind, maybe '94, '95. But that was one of the first games that I really actually played it fully. I never beat it. It was way too difficult as a kid. But that's one of those games that I always went back to and played. And I imagine that's one of the very first video games I've ever played. Sega Genesis, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. You're a little hedgehog, basically. You don't really look like one. And your objective is to go through a track, collect some rings, jump over some obstacles, destroy some bad guys, beat the boss at the very end, which I never got to. My brother did. But I can just picture, like, the first level is a grass area, so you're on grass. The second one is, I believe, a nighttime one. You're in some sort of goo factory or something.
Was that the one with where second players, if you want, could be Tails?
Yep,
Tails was
the
invincible?
companion. A yellow one that ran at the speed of sound, however
And could
fast they ran.
fly.
She could. Yeah, what a cheater.
Tails
was a he.
Yeah, Miles Tails Prower. That's his name.
Wow, I didn't know that much.
I know. Yes.
But no, that's number 4 on my list because I can still go back and play it today. I actually just hooked up my Sega and started playing to me.
You still have your Sega Genesis?
Found it in the closet, plugged it in, hooked it up. Terrible graphics, but it works.
But still, the nostalgia of it all is.
So yeah, probably one of the first video games I've ever really played, and understood what video games were at that point. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for Sega Genesis was my number 4. Right?
I'm gonna throw in an honorable mention here. This is a very recent game, and I I wasn't sure about putting recent games on here, but I'm going to put Civilization 5 on here.
Ooh.
Came out in 2010. It's on my laptop. I still play it. And I love this game, and I play it so often. And it's just, you command a civilization. I generally choose America because I love America.
You likes the nation.
But I get mad. You talk to, like, other historical leaders like Genghis Khan or Catherine of Russia. Those are the leaders of those civilizations. But like when they declare war against me, I usually stand up and like, you want it? Bring it. My army's gonna crush your army. And I just, no, I'm not gonna cuss. My army's gonna crush your army, and I'm gonna take it to. And
is this the game where you named a province after me?
I did. One of my cities, I named it after Matt's. Like, I'm just gonna name a city. But one of the reasons I put it on here too, I wasn't considering putting it on here, is because I didn't realize how much I played. When I went on and loaded it up, it shows you how long you've played. I've played this game 246 hours.
Really? You can look at that's awesome.
That comes out to 10.25 days. This isn't like when you say, oh, it's a 30-minute show, when really you mean it's 23 minutes and 7 commercials. This 10.25 days means if I sat and played literally nonstop, I would play for 10.25 days.
Yeah. And so let's compare it to a stat you're playing now, a game that you play, Battlefield. Do you know how many days you played since you last checked?
It's been a while since I loaded up Battlefield, but yeah, I think I'm on 180 hours on that game.
Yeah. So how many days is that?
I have no idea. I can't do math in my head.
I think I'm at like 2.5 days.
2.5 days.
So that's only, I don't play that next. Tex owned it a lot longer than I have. Tex plays a lot longer I do. But yeah, that's the game I'm playing now. I've most played 2 days. So times it by 5, and that's what Tex has done on Civilization 5.
One of my honorable mentions. Do you have an honorable mention?
I do. I moved some things out of the way to add some other things like Rock Band. But Grand Theft Auto Vice City, it's not like the title ones where it's Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's sort of, I think it's in between 3 and 4. Vice City, just the GTA franchise, it was a whole different aspect that I was never played. You have to I love the free roamingness. You can do whatever you want.
Free roam is great.
You can be a citizen. You can stop at stop signs, or you can run.
Do
over people.
You used to do that? Because you don't get in trouble for running stop signs as long as you don't hit anybody. But sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna stop at the stop signs. I'm gonna turn like you're supposed to. I
maybe did that once, but that's the fun about it. You can do whatever you want, and then there is missions. Vice City, I got really close to beating it. It was way too difficult for me to actually finish the game. But I probably spent many hours just having fun. I eventually got a plane, and I could fly the seaplane. But then you buy these different locations, and you get revenue from that. I had so many cheat codes for that, for upping my health or raising the stars or the wanted amount. Because if you have like 8 stars on you for the police, you get choppers, and it's just a challenge. I remember I'd sit on top of a building where I can get cover, and I'd do as many stars as I could, so cops couldn't really come up the building. Yeah. But I can have RPGs and fire down at the cop cars or the helicopters around me. So just a bunch of things you can do, and that's right. That's honorable mention. Really,
I
really have there.
I love the GTA series, and I'm looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 5. 4 was not that great. I remember playing on San Andreas, and I would do that. But when we would play, like I used to play a lot at executive producer Trevor's house, and I knew a lot of the cheat codes, a lot of the important ones, health, guns, ammo, things like that. And he said, "Hey, what's the code?" And I'm like, "I have no idea. I never knew the code, but as soon as he gave me the controller, done."
And that's what he'd do. I remember, like he said, health, and so he'd hand you the controller, and you do it real quick, and then you
give it back. I remember one instance. It was all 3 of us, Trevor, Matt, and me, playing San Andreas.
This isn't funny.
This is funny. And there was a jet that I could spawn with cheat codes called the Harrier jet, and it's a jet in real life. It can take off vertically, and then it can start to go, but Matt didn't know how to make it go forward. All he could do is hover.
I could hover it, but I had no idea how to turn the throttle or turn the engines horizontal so I can go straight.
Yeah, and he saw us fly the same jet.
Tex was doing just fine with it, and I don't know how he did it.
And me and Trevor and me were laughing. Trevor and I were laughing at him, and he's like, "What?" He's like, "We gave you the one that doesn't fly," and he's like, "Oh, come on!" And which there's only one version.
Yeah, so
he didn't know how to make it fly.
I believed it for a second. Okay, but no, a really fun game. Very offensive, and derogatory, and a lot of cussing constantly. But
fun game.
Your parents might like. My mom hated that I got it, but I bought it with my own money, so she couldn't really argue. Tex.
Number 3.
Number 3.
That's where we're at, right?
We are number 3. Yep.
Number 3, favorite game. I had a hard time placing this one. I felt maybe it should be a little higher, but my first and second ones definitely, I love them even more. So, number 3, Half-Life. Game came out in 1998 for the PC, and I do remember how we got this one. This actually wasn't a game for me.
Wait, this is only number 3 on your list?
Yeah,
that is surprising to me.
That is why.
That's all he talks about. He loves Half-Life, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Chapter 1, Chapter 2, or Book 1, Book 2. He reads all the blogs about maybe a next Half-Life coming out.
It's been, like 7 years, I think?
Since the last Half-Life game, but there's still talk that Valve, the maker of the game, will do a third game. There's been talks at every E3 since...
And recently, because I saw a video that joked about the next installation of this series coming out, and I was flipping out, literally. I mean, like, wait, are you serious, or is this a joke? I didn't know.
Yeah.
And even Gabe Newell, he'll never talk about it. He doesn't talk about it, but he teases people about it. Like he was in a TV show, and it was showing him forging a crowbar, which is the signature of the series.
Yeah,
the crowbar,
one of the main weapons you have.
And the guy come up to him and says, "Hey, are you ever going to be done with this?" And he goes, "These things, they take time." And I'm like, "Oh, good,
what a jerk!
You son of a gun!" But yes, Half-Life was a gift from my dad, and there's still a picture of him holding the box with an excited face. And there's this game was a great game, but also there were memories there. I would play this with my dad. I would sit next to him. He would actually play, and all I would really do is say, "Hey, don't forget to save it. Don't forget to save it." And
that was your role.
That was my role, honestly. Don't forget to save it.
I have played it. Actually, I didn't play the first one. Actually, I don't know. I believe I played the first one back in the day in like sixth grade on a friend's computer for a little bit. Never played the entire campaign. There's something called Black Mesa out now, which is a sort of mod that some guys did because the source code for the game was released. So they basically took the graphics from Half-Life 2, gave it to Half-Life 1, and cut some story out. But so I'm currently playing that now. But no, it's on the 100. It's like on the top 100 list that people say the best video games of all time because it was the first time where you walked around, found the people, and they started talking to you. In the game without changing screens, all that stuff. They interact with you without changing to a cut screen or anything like that, and that made it just a whole different dynamic.
Yes, this game set the bar for first-person shooter puzzle games. It's still cited as one of the best, greatest games ever, and it truly is. It's an amazing game, and the mod that came out for it, I went through it. It's not the original, of course, but still, it brought back, oh, I remember this part, and I remember loading up my old PC and saying, hey, I got to play through this again. So I went through it again, and it's still a great game. Still waiting for the third one, which has been 7 years now.
My number 3 video game, just because there's not much else like it, and I love the idea of it, and almost just a part of me wants to be this character, and that's what I like about movies and video games. If I really want to be that character and I really idealize them, if that makes sense, then I know I really like the game. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell.
Tom Clancy.
It's a whole stealth mission, and the series has evolved where it's a stealth and or you just fire them up. But the first one was you're stealth. You shoot out lights. You turn off all the lights. You break certain things. You kill people, hide the body, and you go through a building and assassinate someone without getting detected. The whole stealth mission thing is. I love it, and I played that for many hours, and I bought like every game since, except for the last one for Xbox 360. But there's a new one coming out that I'm planning on getting. But yeah, number 3, I just love the idea, and there's not any other games like the games now are basically just shoot 'em up. But I love the whole idea of critically thinking about what you need to do next, who needs to be killed, who you can probably save, how to not be detected. But how and stuff like that. So I really love it.
Yeah, for Tom Clancy, for Splinter Cell, he's right. It's all about sneaking around and not getting caught. That's not my style in games. I usually just shoot everything.
Yep.
But another thing is, if I were to play that game, I get so anxious and nervous.
It is very
about being caught.
Yeah.
Like this is me, Tex. I get scared when playing hide and seek. Literally, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get found. Like I'm gonna die if I'm found. So even in a video game, if I have to hide and not be found, it's very nerve-wracking for me.
We're going to take a pause real quick. It's 2:30. We're going to do commercials as quick as I can. We'll come back and do number 2, number 1, and hopefully most hated. Yeah, so Matt and Tech Show, that was our commercial break. If you haven't been listening so far, we are discussing our top 6 favorite video games of all time. Mm-hmm. We've gone through 6, 5, and 4, and 3. We are currently on 2. Tex, what is your second most favorite video game of all time?
My number 2 is one that I don't think a lot of people will know, because I don't think I've ever talked to anybody who.
Maybe you'll surprise me.
Maybe it's a game called Descent 2.
Descent, yeah, never. You've mentioned it when we were driving home once.
Yes,
but I don't know what it is, and I never heard of it, and I never heard you talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Came out in 1996 for the PC, and this game is it's not a first-person shooter. You're in a ship the entire time. It's a 6 Degrees of Freedom game.
Don't know what that means.
Which, in a standard first-person shooter, I think that's only 5 degrees of freedom. Forward and back, side to side, jumping up and down, and looking around. Looking up and down.
Yeah.
That gives you 5 degrees to move. But this one gives you a 6. You can rotate midair. That's what they call it.
That scares me.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're in space, right?
Yeah, you're in space. You can be upside down and fly normally, but this game I like. When I used to play it with my dad, we used to call it the Vrem game, because I didn't know what the actual name of the game was. And at the beginning of every game, you come into a planet and you Vrem, and you go into mines. This game takes place entirely in mines, and you got to defeat all the evil robots that are inside the mines. But when you would first enter, it would go vroom, and do like some lightning across the screen. I don't know why it ever did that, but that game was awesome. But that game, I never beat it, and that always upset me. And then one day, I was walking around. I played that when I was about 5 years old. And then when I was 18, 13 years later, I came across my old PC, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to hook this up. Took it in my room, hooked it up to my 19-inch screen. I was like, this is going to look so great. Booted it up, and I looked, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Descent 2. I have never beaten this game. And I said to myself, I'm beating it. That is my goal. I made that my goal. I sat there, went through the entire game, and I finally beat it after 13 years, and it was just great. I absolutely loved it.
My number 2 favorite video game of all time, and I'm sorry we're rushing through these. I only have so much time. Maybe you can tell by the song. Halo 1, if you want to say that. Combat Evolved was the official name. Halo Combat Evolved. What an amazing game. For one, Trevor and I, executive producer Trevor, played this for hours. We beat the campaign on not only normal, but elite, and then we gathered all the skulls that were on there, hidden skulls that were sort of an Easter egg sort of thing. But we played that for hours. And what also changed for me was this is the first time I played an online game.
That was online? Because I've never played the first.
Actually, wait. No, you're right. Wait. Halo was online. But Trevor, I don't believe Trevor had it online. A friend of mine had Xbox Online. So that's when I played it.
That was for the original Xbox.
Yes, that was for the original Xbox. So it's just the way the game is. It's just a third-person shooter, actually first-person. But that was basically like the first one that said, "Wow, this can be really fun. You can play with all your friends." It might not have been. I gotta check. I'm sorry, I'm not 100% sure. It might not have been online, but you could play with like 4 other friends because Xbox had four controller slots, and that was good enough because you had a good map, and then you and your buddy were on a team, and your other buddies were against you, so you'd fight. But that the whole multiplayer thing was new for me, and this is kind of the first first-person shooter that started it all for me and a lot of us here. So Halo Combat Evolved, really high up there, number 2. Tex?
The new Halo game is going to come out this year.
November 6th. So that's less than 2 weeks. Actually, that's Election Day.
It is Election Day. Okay.
Tex, we'll go to number 2. We only have so much time.
Number 1.
Oh, you're on number. Yeah, we're on number one.
Number
That's
one.
good. Good timing.
My number one game. I never wavered on this. I knew it was going to be in the
You
number
knew for
one
sure?
position. Yes, and it's BioShock. It came out in 2007
Wow.
for
No, I knew that was
PC
yeah.
and Xbox 360. And the reason I think if I was older, Half-Life would be my number one probably, but because I was older and I was able to understand games, if I was able to think about them and actually know what they meant, BioShock is my number one. This game again ranked highly in the gaming community, came out of nowhere really.
Yeah, and very recent, very
Mhm.
very current.
Yes, the storyline to this game is absolutely amazing. The in-depth characters. It's a first-person shooter, but the thing is, the shooting is actually pretty bad in this game. The shooting's crappy, and that's not what it focuses on. And that in no way
Yeah,
deterred me
shooting does suck.
from making this decision, because the story was so in-depth. You go to an underwater city called Rapture, and the characters are so in-depth. The guy who built this city, he believed in no government, and that everything a man creates that belongs to him. And you delve into this story through audio logs that you find throughout the thing. You see that the whole place is just, once you get there, is torn down. This was supposed to be a utopia that destroyed down. The atmosphere is great. The bad guys, the big daddies who protected the little sisters, are important to the.
It's like your main enemy throughout the game is like a boss level every room basically
Mhm.
when you encounter these big daddies.
in a giant
Very difficult.
old style
Yeah, the
scuba
old
diver
style, super heavy armor. I don't want to cut you short, but we can go in depth next week about our top one, and I'll say mine in a bit, and our most hated game.
suit. Mhm.
But I do have to cut us up. My number one video game of all time is Star Wars Battlefront. That's a game that I've never played online. I would really love to, but it's basically like
It did have online.
It did have online, but I didn't have PlayStation 2 online. I didn't pay
neither
for that.
did I.
Neither did Trevor. But we'd play that for every day after school. We play that at my house. We play it at his house. We play it on weekends. We played it at night. We play it in the morning. It was a game we absolutely loved. You'd go on different maps of Star Wars. You'd be on the Rebellion or the Galactic Empire or the CIS or the Republic. Different time zones of the Star Wars galaxy. Different planets. Really, there was no campaign. It was all basically just, there was a sort of campaign, but basically you just conquer planets, you capture bases, and you kill the enemy. And it was just you got to go farther into the Star Wars universe than I ever really had before, and I played that probably more than any other game I've ever played. So that's my number one. We'll go more in depth about that, but unfortunately I have class to go to. We'll see you next week. This is the Matt and Tech Show. We only played a couple of seconds of songs, so I'm pretty proud of us. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/MattandTex, or Twitter.
/MattandTex.
Yep, I am Matt.
I'm Tex.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Yeah.